Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm actually going to show you how to make my favorite green smoothie, and it has 5 ingredients in it, so it's really simple to make, but it's a mint chocolate chip smoothie. And the color comes from spinach, which adds a power punch of nutrition, and it's relatively flavorless. So you really don't know what's in there, but it does give it that classic green mint color to it. And then I add almond milk as my base because I really like for this smoothie to be really creamy, and it has that milkshake-like texture to it, and it just adds like a really awesome fullness of flavor to it. I also add in 1 drop of peppermint essential oil. Obviously, first up, you need a blender. If you are making a green smoothie, it is better to have a high-powered blender. I do have a Vitamix here. You can get them refurbished on Amazon for a little bit cheaper. And if you're new to making green smoothies, I don't think this would be your highest priority or investment, but if it's something you drink on the regular, definitely recommend upgrading. If you don't have a high-powered blender, you're gonna wanna start with putting a little bit of almond milk in first, and then your spinach, and blending that alone so that you don't get chunks of spinach in your smoothie. But because we have a high-powered smoothie, we're just gonna put it all in here all at once. First up, almond milk. This brand, if I'm not making homemade, is probably my favorite because there's no carrageenan in it. It's just a gum filler that can be a gut disruptor and doesn't always digest well for me. Today I'm making the smoothie as a meal, so I'm gonna make about 2 cups worth of smoothie and use 2 cups of almond milk. You could always use another liquid like water, but I really like the thickness that the milk adds because it really gives it that milkshake-like consistency and texture when you're drinking it. Next, we're gonna add the spinach. I'm using Earthbound Organic. This is pretty standard at most of the grocery stores where I live. So this is my favorite brand. I like to add in about 2 cups or 2 really big handfuls of spinach. Spinach is probably my favorite green in smoothies because it's a really tender green, so it blends up really nicely. And it's also really mild in flavor, so it doesn't really have that strong green taste that I sometimes find kale can have. I love kale too, but sometimes it's a bit strong, especially in a smoothie like this. You'll really want to stick with spinach if you can. The next part is frozen bananas. I really like frozen bananas in smoothies because it replaces that thickness and frozenness that you would get from ice cream. And I think ice tends to thin out my smoothie, so I really like banana in this. Now, how thick you prefer your smoothie is totally up to you. I really like the consistency of about 1 full frozen banana per cup of liquid that I'm using. So since I put in 2 cups of almond milk, I'm gonna put in 2 frozen bananas. Another quick tip on bananas too is I like to buy a ton of bananas at once and wait till they get really brown and speckly just like this. Then I'll peel them, break them in half, and freeze them in a glass container. The reason you want to wait for them to get really speckly is because the sugars condense as the bananas ripen, and so when you use them in smoothies, this is going to be so incredibly sweet that I don't have to add any external sugar to my smoothies. Next ingredient I'm going to add is just a splash of vanilla. This is totally not required. I used to make this smoothie all the time without it, but I think it just adds just a little extra depth of flavor that I really enjoy in the smoothie now. So here I have the Young Living Peppermint Essential Oil. Now this is really strong, and you really don't want more than 1 drop, sometimes even half a drop in your smoothie. So my little hack, if you're using a full-on essential oil like I am, is to put 1 drop on a leaf of spinach. That way, if you get too much, you can just throw away that leaf of spinach and not your entire smoothie. If you don't have essential oils, or if you're not sure if you can actually eat the one that you have, you can replace this with a peppermint extract, but you definitely want more like a teaspoon to have that full peppermint flavor if you're using an extract instead of an oil. Lastly, for the best part, I'm using chocolate chips today. I normally would use cacao nibs in place of these because the nutritional value is a lot higher and there's less sugar in them. However, I am out, and the last time I went to the grocery store, they didn't have any. So today I'm using chocolate chips instead. These ones have only 3 ingredients and they're dairy-free, so just make sure you're reading the labels to make sure you can find the cleanest version of whatever it is that you're wanting. Again, how many you add is totally up to you and your preference. I usually add a pretty good sized handful. Maybe like that many. Okay, maybe a little more. All right, now you have all your ingredients in your blender. Go ahead and just put the lid on and blend it up. just gonna pour it into a massive mason jar. If you're new to smoothies and you've not invested in giant mason jars, you should definitely do that. Because if I'm drinking a smoothie for a meal, I make a really, really big one. I'm gonna grab my favorite straw for this and go sit out on my back porch and drink it because it's a beautiful day here in Michigan. I hope you enjoyed the smoothie recipe. If you'd like to see more recipes, be sure to give this video a like, give us a comment down below, and let me know what versions of healthy recipes you'd like to see me make. I'm a firm believer that you can make anything you like in a healthier way. So if you have specific recipes you want to see made healthy, definitely let me know and I'd love to share them with you. Hope you all have a great day.